Now that we've looked at the fundamentals behind using a depth map like this one to add shallow depth of field to a 3D object such as this, let's create the actual rackFocus shot. Now it's a little bit more complicated in this particular scene than just simply keyframing the focal distance, but that is where we'll start. So here at the beginning, I'll just set this to 0%, go to the end, and rackFocus forward to 100%. Instantly you can see a problem. The focal map isn't fitting the board. The reason for that is a phenomenon that exists in the scene called lens breathing. If I just solo the plate, you can see this in action. So see the slight zoom that's happening between the beginning and end of the shot? This is a natural byproduct of a heavy rack focus. I've accounted for it in the foreground by parenting all the layers associated with the board to this scale null. So this goes down to 97 from 100. I'll copy that to use it in this scene as well. But now I have a challenge. There's no option to parent a C4D layer. And if I look at the scale controls, they have expressions applied. This is where we hit the limits with Cineware. So rather than try to keep working with this live C4D layer, I'll go back to the project and use a pre-rendered one that I've made. Now, if you want to make one for yourself, all you have to do is solo the layer and choose Composition, Save Frame As File, and that'll save a single frame. So that's all this is. So I'll just add this one in, move it to the back, and get rid of the C4D scene. I'll make sure that one is parented to the null, and I can assign it as the blur map layer. Unfortunately, the problem still exists, and in this case, the reason is that I need to pre-comp. The scale null is not having an effect in the same comp, but it will if I stick these both in a pre-comp. I'll just call it blur map scaled pre. Open that up. If I zoom out, you can see a gap around the edges, which I can easily solve by just adding a background solid. I'll just call it BG. Let's close that up. And now once again, I need to move that to the back and assign it as the blur map layer. So it's quite a few steps, but now you can see that our problem is solved. We do have the remaining problem of some not very nice looking edges here. But depth maps make it possible to add rack focus effects to any 2D shot. So now let's look at how to fix the artifacts that give away the blur map